All right, so today we are going to create a tic-tac-toe board. So let's go ahead and go in here and just name this tic-tac-toe hyphen your first initial followed by your last name. So we have been machining this in the ENGT 150 class, so we're ready to actually go ahead and we're going to create our drawing for this as well. So I will start with a sketch. We'll go ahead and start that sketch here on the front plane. Click the view cube. Let's bring that around. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use the center point rectangle. So we will click on our XY axis, left click to place it, 2.25, enter, 2.25, enter is the dimensions that we were machining this to. And we can go ahead and click the check mark here to be finished with that sketch. We basically have that taken care of. Now, I'm going to come over here and we want to go to the isometric view. I'm going to extrude this back. We will extrude this back by 0.5, so half an inch. And I'm going to click on this arrow. You can either click on the arrow here or you can click on the arrow here to change that direction. So just so you know, you can also kind of grab the arrow and pull it and move it either way that you want if you want to extend it that way too. So I'm going to flip this the opposite direction and change this back to 0.5 as far as my actual depth. So, and I'm finished. Make sure that this is either new or add, and we will uncheck that. Now, my next thing that I'm going to do is do the slots. So we're going to go ahead and come back here and say we'll sketch. We're going to sketch on this surface right here. So bring my cube back around so I can be looking at it. And I'm going to kind of create a few different slots. Now, one of the things that we want to kind of talk about here is we've got all of these different geometric and shape constraints over here, coincident, concentric, parallel. Some of these are created when we create geometry. Sometimes we have to actually put those in. So the other thing that we want to take into consideration here as we go is some construction lines. So I'm going to go right now to my line drawing tool. So we're going to create some geometry. Now, again, we're kind of splitting this up into 3 parts. So right now, I'm just going to kind of come in and draw some construction geometry here. So, and I'm going to place those lines and dimension those. So if we sit here, our dimension constraint is right here. So we're going to dimension. I'm going to go from here to this line. We're going to make this 0.75, and we're also going to make from here to here 0.75, so 0.75 to there. Now, I'm going to draw some additional lines here too. So we're going to do a horizontal line from there, so I'm left clicking on that line. Notice how it's locking in and putting a constraint there, which is what we want in this case. We want this locked in at the horizontal, and if I stay over, so we want it to be locked into that edge there as well. So I'll left click to place that, right click, escape, go back to my line tool. Again, I'm going to left click on the edge, make sure that it's giving me that funky looking line here to constrain it horizontally, left click to place it. Now, notice this is where we got to be careful here because it didn't go all the way over to there. So let's escape that here. I'm going to undo that line so we can come right over to here. This is our undo button. So we can click to undo that. Notice there's a little delay, so sometimes you have to have a little bit more patience. I was kind of moving a little too fast right there, so let's go back to the redo. So places that one in. Now I can come back to my line tool. I'm going to left click on this line, move it over, and left click on the other side right click to escape the line. And just like we put on these dimensional constraints here on our vertical lines, notice these are horizontal dimensions constraining our vertical lines. Now we're going to place some vertical line dimensions to constrain our horizontal lines. So let me come back to my dimension tool. I'm going to go from this line, so I'll left click there and I'll left click there. So this is going to be a 0.75. So oh, it just changed that. So let me hit escape. So actually, let's go back and let's do this one. So I'm going to click, left click out here to place and drop the dimension. Now type in 0.75, enter. So that gives me that dimension. I'm going to hit the escape key to get out of my dimensioning tool. Now I can come back and edit this dimension. So just double left click on there, and let's change that to 0.75. There we go. We're entered there with that. Now, we were doing a 1/8 slot, so I need to offset these lines. So let's come back up here. Let's sit here and take a look. Right here is our offset tool. Let's just kind of hit this drop down arrow. So we got offset or slot here is those. Let's take a look at this drop down arrow. This is our trim, extend, and split tool. So if you ever in doubt, just kind of click those drop down arrows so that you can kind of see what the different tools are here that you've got at your command as far as to use those. So this is going to be my offset tool. Now I'm going to click on this line. This differs from AutoCAD just a little bit here, so this is important to understand the keying sequence. Notice in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click over here to the left. So, and the dimension I want this to be 1/8 of an inch, but I still want it to be on center of that line that we drew. So I'm going to put in half of 1/8 of an inch, which is 0.0625, and we'll place enter. I'm going to do the same thing going the other direction now. So, and in order to get this to go the other direction, click the arrow, come up here and left click. So 0.0625, enter. So that way I've got my original line that is at the 3/4 inch mark, and it is now basically the center of that. We're going to do the same thing here with this one. So let's move. I'll left click 0.0625. That's a 1/16 of an inch. And I can now click on this, switch the arrow direction, go to the other side, left click to place it, 0.0625, enter. So those are my two slots going that way. I got the same thing now with the horizontal line. So let's left click. So we can go ahead and I'm going to switch the direction going up here. Left click to place the line, 0.0625, enter. Now I'm going to, instead of clicking on the center line and doing 0.0625, you can also click on the top line. So, and make it go down. So now I would actually be doing the 0.125, enter. So either way is going to give you the same result. So let's click on this one, and we're going to go ahead. We can keep that going down this way, but this one I'm going to be 0.0625, enter. Now I'm going to click the bottom one here. So let's flip that going the other way. So left click, 0.125, enter. So there we go. So I've got all of those in position. Let's go ahead and click the green check mark because we're done with our sketch. But now we need to extrude that. So in order to kind of pan around with this, on my keyboard, I'm hitting and pressing the shift key. Notice, so the shift key, I'm also pressing and holding the roller ball on the track, and that way when I move the mouse it allows me to do this. If I let off of the shift key, then I can move the whole thing, but it doesn't kind of pan around. So shift key and hold allows me to move this like this. And of course, if you ever get lost or not sure where it's at, just come right back over here to your view cube. You can click on the front view. You can come over here to your little isometric box here and click isometric so you can kind of get it back to oriented the way you need to be able to see it. All right, so we're going to extrude and make these slots now. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to left click on my extrude tool. Now my depth here that I want these to be is 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and take 0.125 and enter that in. And in this case, we're going to be removing this material, but I want you to see what kind of goes on and what happens here first. Because we've got all of these situated like this, so we're going to have to select all of those individually to kind of get those out. Now, and get them to kind of be removed. Now, notice it's coming out of the screen here. So if I go and I click on remove, it takes it the other way. Now, notice now as I click on all of these, so we're starting to remove all this material. And this is a lot of clicks for us to have to do, which is all right. So it gets the job done, but again, it's not really the most efficient way to do it. So we'll talk a little bit here in a few minutes about a more efficient way to get this done. And the other possibility that can happen is I might click on the wrong thing and it won't work and react the way I want. Notice I got all of these little tiny areas here that need me to make sure that I'm putting my cursor on that one in particular and getting it to be exactly what it needs to be. So, and notice how sometimes it turns red, which is all right. Sometimes that happens when it's not liking the geometry we're creating. So kind of think about what's going on. All right, there we go. So I got everything kind of put in for my slots. Let's go ahead and hit the green check mark. So, and I am finished now with this. Let's come back to the isometric. If I come into the front view, notice we see everything there with that. Only thing left for me now is to kind of go back in and put my holes in. But for this point, our TicTacToeBoard is finished.